Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters. I'm your host Mitch, glad to have you here. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about Commander on a budget. Today's episode is going to be a Commander quick take. On episodes like these, I give you my initial take on a newly spoiled Commander from an upcoming set. I'm going to be talking about a potential direction to take that Commander and possible cards to use for that build. This show and episodes like this one are possible because of viewers like you. So if you're looking for some easy ways to help support the show, make sure you like this episode and share it with friends. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Thank you to everyone who's already purchased our merchandise, it really does help support the channel. Another easy way to support this channel is by using our TCG Player affiliate links. So make sure that you're looking for those links in the description whenever you're buying a deck or just individual cards. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support. But before we really jump into this, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. On episodes like these, they are just initial quick takes. This Commander is just as new to me as it is to you. And because of that, I don't have a finalized deck build for this Commander yet. So the direction that I choose to take this Commander today might not be the same one that I do in a deck tech. And because of that, some of the cards I'm going to mention might not be in that deck either. Alright, now that we're on the same page, let's get into it. Today's Commander quick take is on Gargos Vicious Watcher. It's an 8/7 Hydra with Vigilance that costs 3 green. It has Hydra spells you cast cost 4 less to cast, and whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, Gargos Vicious Watcher fights up to one target creature you don't control. With this card, Hydras finally have a specific tribal commander for them. There are definitely plenty of commanders out there like Roshin Meanderer that can be used as a Hydra commander, but Gargos was specifically made with Hydras in mind. Reducing the cost of all your creatures by 4 is a huge amount, especially with Hydras. And on top of that, your commander is going to really deter any kind of targeted removal. But this commander even benefits you whenever you target any of your creatures too, because anytime that you do, you essentially get a free fight spell out of it. Now, no matter which creature is targeted, Gargos is actually the one that's fighting. But since your commander is an 8/7, it can pretty much pick off any creature on the board. But first, let's go through some of the Hydras that we're actually going to be targeting with those spells. There are plenty of Hydras out there that have X in their mana cost, so essentially your commander gives you an extra 4 mana for that X. With this commander, even something as simple as Feral Hydra can be a threat. Because your commander can save you so much mana, eventually you'll just have extra that you can spend. So you can use some of that mana to put it back in Feral Hydra to make it even bigger. And then there are Hydras like Hungering Hydra, which can just grow on their own. At the very least, you're going to be casting it as a 4/4 for only 1 mana. Your opponents can't team block it since it can't be blocked by more than one creature. And whenever it's dealt damage, you get to put that many counters on it. And we're also going to be running some utility Hydras like Genesis Hydra. When you cast it, you get to reveal the top X cards of your library, and then you can put a non-land permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. And thanks to your commander's cost reduction, you can put even more into that X. And there are plenty of Hydras out there that don't have X in their cost but will still benefit from that cost reduction. With our commander in play, Orn Reef Hydra only costs 2 mana. And for just 2 mana, a 5/5 with trample that can grow into a 7/7 immediately is ridiculous. But Hydra Omnivore might be even more absurd in this deck. Essentially, it's going to be an 8/8 for 2 mana, but that's not even the end of it. It has whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent. We'll get to some of the specific cards in a bit, but this deck is going to be very effective at taking out people's boards. If we can take out even just one opponent's blockers and get Hydra Omnivore through, we can deal a ton of damage to all of our opponents. Another great Hydra for this deck is Whip Tongue Hydra. It starts off as a 4/4 reach with flying, but it can get much bigger. Because when it enters the battlefield, we destroy all creatures with flying, and then it gets a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature destroyed this way. A board wipe that takes out all those pesky flyers for just 2 mana is pretty absurd. On top of that, it leaves behind a huge beater for us. Now there are plenty of powerful Hydras that we can choose from, but let's get into some of the other spells. Again, whenever anyone, including ourselves, targets one of our creatures, our commander fights. So we're going to be running a lot of cheap and efficient spells like Withstand Death. For just 1 mana, it gives Indestructible until end of turn. This is very effective at saving any of our creatures, and we get to fight with this too. It might even benefit us to cast this and target our commander. By making it indestructible, we can have it fight as many times as we need to without dying. Cantrips like Viridescent Wisps can be very effective too. Its effect may be pretty weak, but it actually replaces itself. And for just 1 mana, a card that lets us fight and replaces itself is pretty effective. We're also going to be running cards that we can get multiple uses out of, like Praise Vengeance. It is going to give one of our creatures +2/+2 until end of turn, but the important part is that it has Rebound. So essentially we also get to cast it for free on our next turn. So in total, for 1 mana over 2 turns, we get +4/+4 and we get to fight twice. The efficiency of creature removal for this deck is absolutely absurd. We're also going to have some cheap spells that can target multiple creatures like Warrior's Lesson. For 1 mana, it's going to target 2 of our creatures. And a card like Citizen Tactics can be even more impactful. It says until end of turn, any number of target creatures each get +1/+1 and gain tap. This creature fights another target creature. And it has Strive, so it costs green more for each target beyond the first. So we can target multiple creatures to have our commander fight multiple times. And on top of that, we can use those creatures that we target to actually fight too. Our targeting spells can be even more effective by running a card like Wild Defiance. It's an enchantment that says whenever a creature you control becomes the target of an instant or sorcery spell, that creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. This can make our creatures absolutely huge and allow our commander to fight even more often. I can see this deck being very explosive and really taking people by surprise. But as with any budget deck, there are always ways that we can improve on it by using some reasonable upgrades. When Lifeblood Hydra dies, it's going to draw you a lot of cards and gain you a ton of life. And then Primordial Hydra is going to grow itself each turn and become absolutely monstrous. But the biggest upgrade for this deck might be Colonian Hydra. When it attacks, you double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. With just a few attacks, this can get out of control quickly. I think Gargos is a fantastic Hydra commander, and I'm excited to build around it. But I really want to hear your thoughts on this take, so why don't you let me know in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check out my quick take on Kethis the Hidden Hand. And make sure that you're following us on social media for more updates and sneak peeks on future episodes. Links to our social media accounts can be found in the description. Also in the description below is a link to the Commander's Quarters Patreon page, and I just want to say a quick thank you to the patrons who have subscribed so far. There are many benefits to being a patron for the Commander's Quarters, including being able to vote on future commanders for deck techs. There's even a general level tier where you get your own personalized deck tech dedicated to you. I truly couldn't do this without all of your support, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, check out some of our other episodes on budget deck techs, Quest for Quarters episodes, Commander topics, and Creators Quarters. And with that, I'm out of here. Thanks again, and have a good one.